Hello everyone and welcome back to This Week in Mythic Plus. Now this week in Mythic Plus we have Teeming, Necrotic and Tyrannical. So before we get into it, let's just review what each one of these affixes does. Teeming gives us extra mobs, Necrotic gives us a healing debuff that ends when combat ends, or drops off after a certain amount of time, and Tyrannical means that bosses have extra HP and do extra damage. Now for all the tanks out there, you should be speccing for more AoE and cleave damage to be able to counter Teeming and be able to pick up aggro a lot better. So once the necrotic stacks hit about 15, you want to start either kiting the mobs or chain stunning them so that your stacks don't get any higher than that. And Leech no longer works for countering Necrotic. That did get changed in a hotfix very recently. Also, when a boss is about to do a big damage ability that you're used to, with Tyrannical it's going to hit that much harder. So right before that big boss ability, use a defensive cooldown or an absorption trinket. Now for all the DPS out there, you can just go ahead and use your DPS cooldowns freely. Really on any trash is good just because there's going to be so much trash this time around. And also, don't use your stuns at the beginning of a pull. Start using your stuns and chain stunning when the tank stacks get above 15 or about 8 to 10 global cooldowns into any pack pull. On bosses, whenever you're going to take unavoidable big damage or cleave damage that you know is very significant, use a defensive cooldown or alternatively just equip a Prydas for the run and that'll help you survive. Now for the healers out there, make sure you keep your tanks topped off as much as you can early on in the pull, just because as the necrotic stacks go on and on, your healing will diminish, so you won't be able to keep your tank as topped off. So keep them topped off early so that when the stacks get higher, your tank doesn't require as much healing. Once your tank hits more than 15 stacks of necrotic, if for some reason your tank isn't kiting or chain stunning or anything like that, use damage diminishing abilities instead of heals because those are going to be more effective. Think something like Bark Skin or Hand of Salvation, things that have an effect that reduce the amount of damage coming in. The last thing you should be ready for is when a boss does a big AoE or cleave ability, especially if it's unavoidable, you should start casting your big AoE heal before that lands, so that as soon as that big hit goes out, you're right on it starting to top everyone off. So overall this week, when stacks get too high, greater than 15, start kiting, chain stunning. That's when you should start immobilizing those mobs and trying to get necrotic off of you. Everybody should be using defensives or preparing for big boss damage whenever they know it's coming. This week, a Prydas will come in handy because of Tyrannical if you're pushing high keys. And if you're gonna chain pull or if you're gonna pull really big packs, just be aware of Necrotic. Try to get it to fall off whenever you can, and don't let the stacks get too high. Lastly, all of your DPS and your tanks should be speccing into more AoE or cleave damage, since that'll shave off the most time in your run. Overall, this week really boils down to how comfortable you are with Necrotic. If you're good at handling Necrotic and knowing how to kite, then honestly this week is about a 4 out of 10. If you have a lot of trouble kiting Necrotic and knowing when to run away, it can spike up to about a 6 out of 10, but honestly this week shouldn't be too bad. Go ahead and jump in there. The only thing to worry about is in really high keys when you're pushing 15s, 20s. Sometimes Tyrannical can lead to a one-shot if you're not prepared for that damage, so look out for that. And once again, if you want to help support the channel directly, go ahead and visit our Patreon down below. And as always, good luck out there.